You guys, I am so excited for today's video. Not only are we going to do a couple fun DIYs for fall and Halloween, but we are also going to talk more about our big YouTube trip that a few of us took to Boston and Salem this past weekend, as well as sharing my Hocus Pocus themed bathroom. So stay tuned. This is Whiskey and Whit. My name's Whitney, and if this is your first time here on this channel, I like to share DIY and budget home decor, different tips, tricks, hacks, tutorials to give you a home you love. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, be sure to hit subscribe down below so you don't miss a future Whiskey and Whit video. So if you don't follow me on Instagram or you missed the community post that I shared earlier this week, a group of 9 of us DIY YouTubers met up in Boston for a really fun trip. We did a couple days in Boston as well as a day trip to Salem last Friday, and we had an absolute blast. As we were sharing pictures and all of the different things, so many of you asked if anyone vlogged the trip, and I ended up getting some footage when we were in Salem. So I thought I would share it with you, talk a little bit about the trip, and share some of the areas within Boston and Salem, or the different activities that we really liked and would recommend if you go there. But before we do that, let's get into a couple DIYs. Up first is this really fun fall garland. I made it for our bathroom and I thought this would be perfect for Thanksgiving, so I wanted to make sure I shared it. I grabbed some of these unfinished create your own ornaments from Dollar Tree and painted them with a variety of colors. This one I'm just using antique wax to do a faux stain. Some of the pumpkins I did orange, some I did the stain color, some I did white. To give the pumpkins a little dimension, I just went through with nutmeg brown and emphasized the little grooves to make it look a little more three-dimensional. Then, because you guys know me, I love my buffalo check, I took some of the pumpkins, painted them white, and then did a black and gray buffalo check. So I started by taping off 3 evenly spaced horizontal stripes with some 1-inch painter's tape. I pulled the tape off, set that aside, and then did the same thing with vertical stripes. I also made sure to mark where the white stripes were, so then when I painted, I knew right where I needed to put the tape back to complete the look. So that is shown here by those X's. Once those vertical stripes are painted, let it dry, and then grab that painter's tape that you put to the side before and put it back where those lines were marked. This is how you're going to know where to put the black checks where the lines overlap. Then finish off with some black paint where the pumpkin is exposed, and you'll have a really pretty buffalo check print that comes together pretty quickly. If you don't want to paint it yourself, you could absolutely cover it with some scrapbook paper. Then for the base of the garland, I grabbed some burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree as well as some jute twine and my dowel needle. This one is 6 inches long. I'll link it down below. I love to use this for garlands. Then I created a zigzag pattern all the way down my burlap ribbon. You could do this with any ribbon that you have. The zigzag pattern is going to allow you to bunch it up and get a really pretty thick cluster of the burlap ribbon for your garland. When you're done, it'll look like this, and you can decide if you want it to be super tight like this, or you can pull it back and kind of make it look a little bit more loose. It's all the look that you're going for. Then string it up wherever you want. This one is my downstairs railing. Then take the string that comes with your ornaments and just tie them onto your jute twine. I also made one for the bathroom. I used some thicker burlap from Hobby Lobby for this one. As you can see the difference, it's really affordable still. It's not Dollar Tree, but still pretty cheap. And then I just tied in some scrap orange fabric that matches all of the projects I've done this fall, as well as some buffalo check ribbon from Dollar Tree to finish off the look. I like that it looks messy and kind of organic, but it also pulls together my entire fall bathroom. So when we were in Salem, I got super inspired to decorate the outside of my house because everyone's house was super cute. So I grabbed some pallet wood that I had left over. These are probably equivalent to 1x6s or 1x8s. And then I grabbed some additional pieces from the pallet and created 2 pieces that would stretch across the back, as well as 1 piece that would stretch across the front for text. I gave it a quick sand, and then I took my 4 pieces, but you could use however many you have or that you want to use, but I used 4, and I put my good side down because we're going to assemble the sign first. So what you're looking at right now is the back of the sign, and I'm taking my 2 pieces of scrap pallet to hook them all together. So you just lay them across, and then I took my nail gun. You could also use a drill and some screws. Just make sure you know the thickness of your board so you don't go through to the front. I also made sure that all of my boards sat clean across the bottom because when you set your sign up, you don't want it to sit crooked. Then it was time to paint. So I decided to do 4 different kind of Halloween characters. This first piece is going to be a mummy, so I just painted the whole piece white. And then the one on the right, I wanted to break up the 2 white creatures, so I did a ghost. I did a curve at the top and then a couple little curves at the bottom with white chalk paint. Then I'm going through to do a pumpkin that will become a jack-o'-lantern. I did a couple curves at the top and the bottom and painted the entire thing orange. And then I went through with some green, just acrylic paint. I'm just using what I have on hand, so you don't need any specific kind of paint. And I painted that green for my Frankenstein. Now to create all the details, I'm using my Arteza acrylic markers. I love these things. That's how I made my Sanderson sisters one, if you saw that in my Hocus Pocus video. If not, I'll link that for you. But I'm going through just doing circles for the ghost face, hand drawing a jack-o'-lantern face. I also added a little stem and some greenery to the top of my pumpkin. And the nice thing about those markers is you could go in and fix it whenever you need, and they dry pretty quick. Then I pulled up an image of a Frankenstein that I liked on Pinterest and just recreated that with some black kind of furrowed brows. I also outlined the hair, a nose and mouth, and then I got to work on my mummy. I really just winged this. I didn't do anything too specific. I just wanted it to look like he was wrapped. And then I made a really dark diagonal strip so that I could use that for the eyeballs. Then my last step was to go through, do the eyes, and make sure that everything was how I wanted it. I outlined some of the different areas to make it pop as well. Then if your sign is going to be outside, this is a must do. I'm using polyacrylic, but you can use really any sealant. I like the brush on for outdoor stuff. I think you get better coverage versus the spray on. And I covered everything. It's a matte, so it won't be shiny, but it will seal it, especially from the elements. You never know what's gonna happen in October in Illinois. I knew that I wanted my sign to say trick or treat, so I found this little image on Cricut Design Space. I just typed in trick or treat and it popped up. I cut it out on some permanent vinyl, stuck it to my wood, and then I went through with some Mod Podge. I'm doing this before I do the polyacrylic, and the reason I do that is because it helps get the vinyl to adhere to this rough surface, and then when you're going over the top with that second sealant, you don't have to worry about peeling up any of the edges if it didn't fully stick because it's a rough piece of wood. Once that was dry, I took it outside and used my nail gun to hook it to my painted sign, and then I went over the top with some more of that polyacrylic so everything was sealed down. I really love how this turned out, especially because it was hand-drawn. Sometimes I question my abilities to hand-draw things. I like to have a picture as a guide, and that helps a lot, so definitely don't be afraid to do that. Pull up an image to help you recreate the look that you're going for. When we were on our Boston trip, I fell in love with so many of the cute little porch areas that people had in Salem. I even stopped to take a picture. Shout out to Shannon at the Daily DIYer who saw that porch and suggested we take some pictures. Here is my take on a fun, festive Halloween porch. I don't have much space, but I made it work. So the group of 9 of us met in Boston on Thursday, so we did a Thursday to Sunday trip, and when I first got in, I met up with Shannon from the Daily DIYer at the airport, and then we hopped in an Uber and went to our hotel. We stayed at the Boxer Boston. It was a smaller boutique-style hotel that was close walking distance to a lot of things that a lot of us were interested in, and so it really proved to be a great location. I roomed at the hotel with Shannon from the Daily DIYer as well as Jay from J Money DIY. We had a great time, and it was fun to learn more about their backgrounds, their channels, and honestly to just see them in person because I hadn't met anybody in person that was on that trip before. On Thursday, we ended up doing the Cheers bar, which is fun. If you watch the show, it is a place that you definitely want to get to at non-peak times because it's pretty small and it fills up quickly, but that's where we ended up meeting Jamie, Sarah Jane, Courtney and Jennifer. Then after that, we headed over to Fenway Park, which that area is just so gorgeous. We ended up walking around and one of the locals actually suggested that we check out Bleacher Bar, which is on one of the sides of Fenway. It had this really pretty kind of garage door thing that opened up into Fenway Park, so you could see the stadium while we sat, and we tried their local hard cider, which was really good, and we just had some really great conversation there. And we finished off our evening at a restaurant called Tiger Mama, which was a kind of Asian-inspired tapas restaurant. I did really like their coconut shrimp, and so it was a great evening. We had a big table for all of us to be able to sit and talk, and it was really fun. Then on Friday, we got up and headed to Salem. As the lips move. All right, that in and of itself is amazing. So we just showed up to the ferry area and we're headed to Salem. Everybody's like taking a walk. It is so pretty here. It is. I cannot wait. Look how cute Jay is. Does she not look like she fits in this town? I know, and they do so good with their Halloween decorations.
I love this. We could definitely make that with like dollar store stuff.
That's when you know you're with a bunch of crafters, when you see something and you hear, I could totally make that. Guys, what'd you get? Anything good? Oh, those are cute. Spiders. Oh, very festive.
And pumpkins.
Oh, those are cute. Oh, look at these moms bringing stuff home. Jamie's got this like Vanna White, here's what I got done. You would think that he films videos of showing what he purchases on a regular basis.
Not
you
me.
would think.
Look at the statue, and he came up and, oh my
God. So now we're on Essex Street and we're walking towards the Ropes Mansion, which is the Allison's house in Hocus Pocus. Found a little bit of Calm and Crazy in her natural habitat.
They had done to improve their life. It was no longer theirs. Until Roger Conant, 1629, did something brilliant. decorations. If you think of The Crucible by Arthur Miller, just think of those things.
We ended our day with dinner at a restaurant called The Ledger. It was so delicious. They had great service, really great drinks, as well as food. And so if you're in Salem looking for a dinner spot, I would highly recommend The Ledger. So we didn't end up taking the ferry home. We took the train, and it was nice because we were able to just pay, I think it was $8 a person, and head back. And the train station is right at TD Garden, which was a couple blocks away from our hotel. We all were able to just kind of hop on and ride back. Our train was delayed, so that's something to keep in mind if you are using the train. It's not always 150% reliable. And then when we got back, we all crashed because it was a really great but busy day in Salem. Then on Saturday, we took it really slow. We walked around Little Italy. We took a couple hours for lunch. We saw Old North Church as well as Paul Revere's house. Now on the Thursday and Saturday, I really didn't pick up my camera at all to vlog. I only just took some photos, and really that allowed us to enjoy the trip as friends. So wanted to share some of the trip with you guys, but also, you know, we wanted to be in the moment and enjoy our time together. I will link everybody's channel who went on that trip down below. Be sure to check them out if you haven't already. I'm sure you've known most, if not all of them, but did also want to share because they all have amazingly creative content, and if you like mine, you will definitely like theirs. After I shared my 20 Hocus Pocus DIYs earlier this year with you guys, I mentioned that I was doing a Hocus Pocus bathroom. So many of you asked me to share it, and so I wanted to share it today. So we have 1/2 bath on our main floor of our house, and it is pretty small, as you can tell here, but I like to use this space to theme it out for seasons. I like to do this Christmas vacation for Christmas time, and so I decided to do Hocus Pocus for Halloween. These prints on the wall, I just switched out from photos we already have in there, as well as creating this Sanderson witch sign. All of those projects are a part of my Hocus Pocus video that I did earlier this year, which I will link down below, and I will try to link anything that is still available online that I'm showing here. Then if you turn up above the toilet, we have these 2 shelves, and I really love decorating these. I really wanted to have a cat silhouette, and I couldn't find anything that I liked, so I decided to DIY this Binks cutout myself. It looks really great with these books from Tuesday Morning and the little jack-o'-lantern from Target. And in case you wanted one too, I wanted to share how I made it. So I started by cutting out a stencil for the cat on my Cricut. You don't need a Cricut to do that though. You could print out a stencil and cut it out by hand. I just wanted to make it quicker. Then I took my little cardstock stencil and traced it on a 1x12 piece of wood that I was going to then use my jigsaw to cut out. Also, while I was at it, I cut out things like ghosts, candy corns, some witches' hats so that I could use them around my house with other Halloween decor. Once they were traced, I grabbed my jigsaw and followed my outline to cut it out. This, you're going to want to make sure that you definitely have safety goggles on, that you're following proper safety protocol, and also be sure to be working on a stable surface so that you have great counter pressure to help cut it out. One trick that I have learned with my jigsaw as I've been using it is that if you have an area that you can't get into, kind of like his tail here, I just took my drill with a larger drill bit, popped a hole in there, and then you're able to put your jigsaw blade right through the hole and start cutting again. Once I got the main outline cut out, I went through and did some detail work, and I just had to move it with my little clamps so that I could get it where I wanted it to be. And then to get rid of all those jaggedy edges from your jigsaw, I took 100 grit sandpaper on my orbital sander and worked out any of the areas that I needed to. After that, it's basically like an unfinished wood piece that you would buy at the store. So I went through, I did the hats black, I did my cat black, obviously, and then I also did some candy corns, which were really easy to do. These were so easy to paint. White first, then the middle strip is orange, and the bottom is yellow. You can use whatever paint that you have. These are really great for vignettes or tiered trays, and I've been doing these for each season, and I absolutely love my jigsaw. I will link it down below. If you don't have a jigsaw, you could absolutely do the same thought process with some Dollar Tree foam board and just add a kickstand on the back. Here with this ghost, you could easily do this with foam board. I just added some circles to create a face, and I've got some fun festive wood pieces for decor. And now let's hop back into the bathroom. I love my little Hocus Pocus Pop Funkos here. I will link if I can find them down below. I got these last year and they've been hard to find this year. The books in the sign are a DIY, as well as the Salem Broom Co. sign. I was so excited to find the Billy Butcherson little figure from Spirit Halloween, and then I got the Danny figure from Amazon. So like I said, I will try to link that down below because that's been one of my most asked questions this season. This Salem Broom Co. sign is a DIY. I've got a full video on how to create your own wood signs that I will link for you if you'd like to make one for your own house. We have an area on top of the toilet that I decided to use one of those witch hats I cut out, as well as a Hocus Pocus sign, and then this fun black pumpkin candle from Aldi. If I'm doing a theme, I'm doing everything, including the linens. So this towel came from Spirit Halloween, and then this one I actually screen printed with a Dollar Tree flour sack towel. So I've got that DIY linked for you as well. This little cluster is fun. The crow in the books are from the Target Dollar Spot this year, the Salem General Store signs from last year, and then I made the candles this year in a Halloween DIY. The two items on the left here, the soap dispenser and the little frame, are both Dollar Tree DIYs, and then the candle I made with some stickers I created in a past video. So if you like anything you see here, chances are I'll have a link or a DIY video. To add a little bit of spooky to it, I just took some of this kind of cheesecloth spooky stuff, I don't know what they call it, from Dollar Tree. I did one over the lights as well as one hanging down the side. So I still have lighting, as you can tell here, for the bathroom to be functional, but it still feels a little spooky. And then here's a quick time lapse of me putting together the shelf so you can kind of see my thought process. It's not just a one and done. I put things up, I move it around, but once I get it where I want it, I'm really happy with it.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed getting a glimpse into our Boston and Salem trip. If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any future content. I've got a ton of Christmas stuff coming your way. It's crazy to think it's that time of year, but it is. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!